Hi guys, my name is Ty. I'm 29 years old and I was a Jet from 2013 to 2018. So I was a fifth year Jet, which, we all know that everybody calls it a unicorn, but really I think of myself as a dragon. I graduated from Towson University in Maryland, majoring in object design and metalsmithing, and my minor was Italian studies. And so we're here to talk about my life after Jet. And I think a lot of you guys are wondering what you guys are going to do, and that's okay if you don't know, but get on it. Anyway, so currently, I work as a salary man for a Japanese company. I'm in the overseas sales department for a Japanese company in Osaka and in the demolition and construction industry. And so what do I do for my job? Well, I'm in sales, and my territory is the Middle East, and that includes India as well. A little bit of Southeast Asia. I'm originally from Thailand, and so I speak Thai, so I got placed there, and as well as the Oceania, like New Zealand, as well. So those are my regions, and I sell demolition attachments with. Have you guys ever seen excavators and the attaching part where they used to grab the concretes? So I sell those. I just started this job about in October, so I don't know super a lot. But some of the cool things about my job is that I'm currently on a new project, launching a series, building and launching a series of attachments that's only for the European market. I'm not in the European market, but I'm helping with the production of it. And so far, it's been really good. As well as looking through meeting customers. I've met our client in Thailand. I've also met our office in Europe. So my company is a Japanese-based company, but we have offices around the world in Rotterdam, in Czech, in France, in Dubai. We have a factory in Shanghai, and we have dealers throughout the world. And so actually every month, starting last month, I've been traveling. So last month I was in Rotterdam, and this month in January I'll be going to 4 different countries. Qatar, where else? Qatar, I'm going to Dubai, I'm going to Oman, and as well as going to India. And the next month I'll be going to Czech, and in April I'll be going to Germany. And some of the other countries that I'll be visiting is New Zealand, Thailand, and probably China. So you're probably wondering how I got this awesome job. Well, I got this awesome job at the Jet Career Fair in Osaka. Mark that. Anyway, so I want to give you guys a little bit of advice on looking for a job. And I want to say start early. If you're leaving Jet this year, I feel like it is a little bit slower, but you're not completely out. I was smart about it, is when I was a 4th year Jet, I went to the career fair a year ahead. So I went there a year before to scope it out, and then the following year I attacked it, right? And actually, I made a lot of connections my first year. So the second time that I went back, a lot of people that I interviewed with, or some of the old faces from the companies, I had already met them. So we had a lot of connections through that. And actually, because the first year I went, I was actually landing an interview, and they knew I wasn't leaving. And I made a connection with somebody else at a company in Tokyo, and they messaged me back a year later because they remembered me. So I think that's really important that you guys always make connections. I think networking is really the key. Also, you guys are going to be getting the information sheet on the website. So what I did was, on one side I had the personal information sheet, and then on the back I had my resume on there. I think that really helped me. And also, some of the other things is, I say follow your gut. If you're talking to them and it's not really what you're going for, I would say, or like you're not really feeling it, keep studying, but knowing that sometimes your gut is telling you not to do it, right? Okay, some of the skill. Oh, and the other thing is, when you go into this, bring your resume, but also bring your business card. And I'm not saying that you need to have, like your title is going to be fancy. Have something with your name on it so people can get it, make memos on it so they remember who you are. And always send a thank you note. I feel like that is the bomb. Also, some of the skills that I really want to talk to you guys about is that whatever skills that you learn as a young child, especially what you learn in high school, really, really, really comes back. And I want to talk about that a little bit. I think the most important thing is your communication skills. I think sometimes we just hate on the popular kids because they're popular, but I think a lot of really awesome popular kids, like actual awesome popular kids, is they have really great personality and have really good personable skills and great communication skills, the ability to relate to people. I think in any job that you do, you need to be able to communicate people effectively. I personally have that problem because I have like at least 3 different languages going on in my head. The other one is your technical skills, like your computer skills. You should know Word and Excel. I did not know Excel. I was like, I haven't done Excel in like 10 years. Like, what the hell is going on, right? And then the other one is, I think, you guys are probably wondering about your Japanese skills. I barely passed the N3 and I failed the N2 and I still got this job. But I'm saying that I'm the exception and you are the rule. And honestly, I think if you want to work for a Japanese company, you need to pass the N2. And I don't think the N2's... I looked at the N2, I failed it, but I thought it should have been harder. You know, if you're going to work for a Japanese company, you need to be able to say things a little bit better. And the N2 wasn't cutting it for me. I don't sell to like kokunai in country, right? In Japan, I sell abroad, so I just use English. And the people that I work with use English, and I do speak Japanese. Your skills as like an English teacher will come in, like especially knowing Japanese cultures is really important. And also, the other one the last one that I also think is really important, I learned this in college, is you want to focus on your T skills, which is where you're a jack of many traits, but you specialize in one area or a few areas. Because I think that in this day and age, it is not good enough if you just know one thing. I think you need to know many things and be able to like excel in one area and become a master of that area. I'm not there yet, but we're getting there. And you know, the best things in shape are t-shirt. Okay, I'm getting messed up. Okay. Anyways, so, and I want to talk to you guys about some struggles that I had. My Japanese skills is really, really kind of ashamed, actually. It's terrible. I'm ashamed of it. It's terrible. It's shameful. But I can't really speak Japanese that well. But luckily, a lot of people in my company do speak English. The thing is, I think there's a guy in my company, and by the way, me and 2 other guys are the first foreigners to be at our company, and we were hired at the same time. So we're like the first foreigners that they have, and I actually am like not a contract worker, but I'm like a seishain, right? So they're not really quite sure what to do with us yet, but some of the struggles is the language. I think you guys, if you don't have the language completely down, but you still need to be able to connect to people, I think heart is so important. And if you can't talk to them in perfect Japanese, you can still talk in words and then piece it together. I think people really, really appreciate that. Some of the other struggle is if you don't know anything much about the industry, what's great about the Japanese companies is that they'll actually train you, but the downside of it is that sometimes you're like, I don't know much enough, and like, am I gonna make the cut, right? The other one is moving. Moving is really hard. Costs a lot of money. And the last thing is, and I want to mention this, I think it's very important, especially for me, and a lot of people, is that there's always going to be discrimination. Whether that's going to be, or things like stereotyping, and like I would hear comments about like, oh, they did this because they're Chinese, or oh, you're from Thailand? Oh yeah, I love Thailand, you know, like sex tourism and things like that. Or they'll always, the other guys, they'll always get treated differently than me because I'm Asian and they're white. And like, they're like, oh, like they just have different standards. And I think maybe you guys will understand this is like, I think throughout the world, there'll always be discrimination everywhere. And it's like, if you're not good looking, it's like you have to do 150. You have to go 150 just to get knocked down to the person who's good looking. And that's honestly true. And if you're a person of color, if you're black, it's like you have to go 200 for them to knock it back down. And that really honestly bugs me, but that is honestly the world. And there are racist people everywhere. Everywhere. And lastly, I'm like trying to talk really fast. Sorry, there's a lot of stories, but some of the advice that I really, really want to give you, and actually they're my life advice, and I actually learned everything that I know from America's Next Top Model. So first, I want to say, if you don't know it, it's okay. Just fake it till you make it. 2, be yourself all the way through. I never pretended to be manly to get this job or anything. I knew that I was gonna be exactly as I am, and I'm gonna be gay throughout, day in, day out, and feminine. And if you don't want me, no, leave. And then I would say take a career and not a job. I mean, of course, I understand that you want to make money and go on, but sometimes I took like a huge pay cut for my company, but I know it's going to be better for my career. And I think that if it's something that you can see yourself continually doing, or it's going to give you a really good experience, I think take the pay cut and build that resume. Like, work for that dream job. I think that's going to be really good. And lastly, I cannot stress this. Two last things. One, I think your personality is so important. You're going to think I'm crazy that I'm saying this, but when I started working for my company, they said that, of course, knowing everything and being able to assemble things and doing this and that is great. But being able to connect with people and being able to, have good teamwork is really, really, really the key. There are people who, I shouldn't even say this, but like, there are people that I'm working with who said that, oh, I don't want to do this. That's like low work. I'm too good for this. Let me tell you, never ever say that. If your boss is telling you, do something, just do it. Because people do not want someone, especially in a Japanese company, they'll have you start really low and doing the really simple stuff. And when you look back at it later, you're going to be like, oh, I know why I did it. Maybe you won't understand it now, but just do it. Suck it up and do it. I think it's totally okay to de-stress and complain about something you can't do, but to say that you are too good for something means that you don't have humility and you don't appreciate the people who do that. So I would say never ever have that attitude. And I would say, and the other thing is, your personality is so important. I connect really well with the Japanese people, and I feel like I'm just being myself. I think I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I know that I also learned this from this top model, is that you might not be the best at something, but you want to be so charming and you want to be so personable and you want to be able to connect with people that they'll want to work with you. And I really honestly think that if you don't have a great personality and if you can't connect with people, you will never stay in the job, because people will hate to work with people who are mean or people who think that, they're better than you. Like, I don't think that's actually a good way to go about it. And then the last thing I want to mention, actually I have two last things. One more is that I want to talk about my something that I think goes with personality. Is my favorite word in Thai. We say namjai, and namjai means water of the heart, and it's this water that connects people's hearts together, and it's it means generosity. And I think it's doing things without expecting something in return. Like, every time I travel, I always bring something back from my coworkers, or I always make jokes to somebody, or doing things for people because you like them. I think it really comes through. I think when you smile and when your eyes sparkle, when you do things for them, they can really, really feel it. I actually take my time to talk to the janitor at my place, and she loves it every time I talk to her, and it's like, it makes my life a little bit better. And I want to leave you with this last advice, and I know that I've been talking for like 15 minutes. Really, really, really think about your own your own journey, and where you want to be, and where you think that your skills will excel. Well, I guess I'll tell you this story is that there's this guy, his name is Sean Bernard Heron, and he talks about the story, and the father gives his boy a rock, and he says to go into the shop and ask how much they would pay for this rock. And if they say how much, the boy is supposed to just hold up his finger list too, and then not sell it and come home and tell his dad. So he goes into the first shop, and he says, and he's like, I want to sell this rock. And the first guy's like, oh, it's a rock. And he says, okay, how much you want for it? The boy holds up his finger like this, and he says, oh, $2. He was like, okay. And he comes home and tells his dad. The next day, he goes to a different shop, and then he says, oh, I want to sell this. And then the guy says, oh, how much do you want for it? He was like, oh, and the boy says, two. And the boy held up his fingers, too. And the gentleman says, oh, it's a nice rock. It's a crystal. You know, I'll give you $200. And he goes home and tells his father. And on the third day, he went to a third shop, and he shows a rock to this guy. And the guy says that this rock is one of the most rarest, most beautiful rocks in the world. And he asks the boy how much he wants for it. He holds up his finger, and the guy says, $2 million. And he goes back home and tells his father. And I'm sure you know exactly what I'm going to tell you, but I'll tell you anyways. The rock didn't change. The rock always stayed as the rock. The rock. But the person who's looking at it changed. So what I'm telling you is that maybe here at this company, or maybe here in this country, in Japan, some people don't see value in you, and that's okay. But you should go where people see value in you. And I think that you're gonna rock it. Don't compromise yourself. Don't change yourself. There will be people who will, you know, give you exactly what you deserve. So I really want to give you guys... Oh, and well, I have all these last. And last top model comment is, you know, sometimes if you want to quit a job and on the last day, somebody you don't like, they're coming down, you're going this way, you push that hoe right off the runway, walk to the end, strutting it, and do your pose like this. You strike that pose. And then you walk back, and midway through, you do a death drop. And then you go on your life. See you guys. Bye.